In this episode, I reveal a truth to me that was revealed hours ago from this recording that will change, revolutionize, and reshape my entire world. Love to share that with you in this episode right now. Britnie, Faith Turner, we are back.
We're back.
With more of your flame throwing for the frontal cortex. We're lighting up brains. You are officially a cerebral pyromaniac.
Hey.
We're having fun.
Compliments. Thank you. I'll take them.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Courage to abundance.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is that's not even a title of a show or an episode. That's more like your life recently.
Yeah.
Literally.
Physically.
And emotionally. Can we talk a little bit about it?
Yes. So all of the rooms on the island have blessings that they're named after, which we talked about. And my room throughout this whole journey of bringing this thing to life.
Which is how long?
5 years.
Half a decade.
Years, 2 months, 7 days.
A quarter of a score, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So I've been saying encourage, and that has been what it's taken. And, you know, I feel like the quote that I'll be best remembered by and will be on my tombstone is do it with diarrhea. That's what people love most about me.
Yes.
And that really does embody what it's taken to build what I built is you can have crippling fear, all the stuff, but you still do it anyway. And that's courage. So I've moved out of courage. Once this year, I actually moved into a room called Abundance when Jerremy and I got married. And that was really fitting because I was praying through what to name that. And we had it named something else and it wasn't right. And then the word abundance really came into my spirit after our Abundance Summit last year. And I learned so much from you there. And there's so much just downloads and breakthroughs that took place there. I wanted to embody that for the rest of at least this next year or this next season of life. And what that means to me is, I've never had to describe this. Okay. What it means is to look back at all the times you were crippled with fear and you did have diarrhea because your guts are churning from just that level of anguish inside sometimes. But it still worked out. And so I've started pre-projecting when I go back into that space of fear. I'm saying, hey, it's worked out. It's worked out. Stop wasting this moment. Stop wasting this energy. Start believing and understanding it's going to happen, even if the path you're thinking with your limited perspective is the way. It will work out eventually in the way that it's supposed to. So that's why, like, if anybody knows me, freaking amazing planner.
Hold on. That doesn't even...
Right?
Not even close.
And it all lines up with your grand purpose and you start at the end and you back. But at the end of the day, and this is what we learned in the Dream Summit, you can make all these plans with your limited perspective, but you take them and you surrender them and say, okay, God, this is the best I could put together based on the desires you put in my heart currently, in my current education network, I do trust you to work it out. I trust you to bring these things into being in the perfect time. And a life fully surrendered actually means to not whine about it. To not whine about the fact certain things are going to take longer or shorter or happen differently. To live in this place of surrender and true abundance is extending trust, knowing it's going to be better, more beautiful, and more perfect than you could have ever forced it. And you're always being protected, you're always being loved, and you're always being guided. When I look back, I've had so many, what other people would classify as obstacles come up. But if I look back at them now, my gosh, I'm so grateful that I was protected in every single step of the way. Like I really thought things were crashing and burning. The worst part about it was public perception. The fact that I said things would happen at a certain time in a certain space, and they didn't. Now, that does matter, especially if you have investors. Of course,
Yep.
you have to, like, if other people are working for you or with you and counting on you, it does affect things.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying your best to make a plan and it doesn't work out, it is embarrassing. And then
Yep.
people are like, well, you said you can only freaking do what you can do.
Yep.
So that's the hardest part, I think. But even then, you have to just trust that nothing is wasted. Don't curse the path. It's all going to end up a blessing. You just have to find a way to keep talking to the people that are involved with you when it doesn't work out the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth time, potentially.
Yes. I have 3 points I need to make really quick before we move on, Britnie.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're a great planner.
Mhm.
That's hilarious. Great is not even close to the summation of the level at which you are a planner. You are not one of the most intentional creators I've ever met in my life.
That's a better word than planner. It feels more right.
You are exceptional at that.
Thank you.
And when you listening to this, come here to the spot that we're at, hopefully the studio, or if not, just the aerial itself. When you come, you'll see what I mean. You'll notice that every seashell is perfectly placed. Each stair was meticulously carved and created and made. Each staircase, each book, every placement of each silverware and napkin was handpicked, handcrafted, hand-created. It's amazing. All for a purpose. Now, the second takeaway and the second thing that I want to make note of, the fact that you name each room and each room comes with a blessing. Many people have told me when they stay there that they have that intentionality. They feel it, they see it, they understand it, they receive it. And a big movement for me, ironically enough, is I never stayed in Courage. I've probably the third person who's been to this island the most out of your friends. Thank you, by the way. Third or fourth. I'm up there.
You're number one.
I'm number one. I'll take that.
Currently number one.
Never stayed in Courage because you've always been there. And what was really interesting is you use the word surrender. Last night. So when I say last night, I mean 13 hours ago. I was talking to my wife as I was doing push-ups. And we were having some conversations about the next journey, because one of the questions that we're going to go through is, how have you and I grown into that abundance with our families, and what's going forward, and what does that mean now that we know all the things we know? What does it look like going forward? We're going to talk about that in the future episodes. But essentially, what I've been doing up until this point in my life is not forcing, but planning, creating, scheming, directing, understanding, but not asking. And I'm going to start asking to see and to hear. And I'm going to start asking to receive, how to know.
Chills on that one.
That's big for me, because hasn't come into my perception to, instead of trying to figure it out,
Oh, yeah.
just sit back and go, show me.
Yeah. That's just occurring to you?
Right now.
Oh, my gosh. Your life's about to explode.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I've never asked, show me. I've always been like, I'll figure it out. I'll do
No
it.
way.
Yeah, let me sit down.
Oh, man.
Give it enough time, give it enough energy, give it enough friends and motivation. I will figure it out myself. I don't need help from anything.
Man.
Now, was that internal and subconscious? Yes.
We need to change your middle name from Alexander to Faith now. Jerremy Faith.
I had the
Newsom.
courage to talk to my wife about that.
Wow.
And I'll share other things with you in the future. But it was a pretty big revelation for me, because, again, I'm still, in the grand scheme of things, relatively new on these journeys, if you will.
We had a really bad experience.
Yeah. I'm still relatively new, and I'm growing into it. And I have you as a friend and mentor and business partner to thank for that, to pull me across these coals, so to speak, and to be on the other side to catch me. And knowing that surrender came last night, where I go, I'm tired of pushing and achieving and stressing and trying to only be the person that plans and creates. Show me.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when we do season
That's
4,
so exciting.
we'll be able to talk about that surrender and that, but that takes courage.
Yeah.
Because, and that was why we want to talk about this in this episode. The reason it takes courage for me, and I think a lot of people, is because now that says to me, I have no idea how this is going to happen, but I believe that it will. And I just have to sit back and know that it will be shown to me rather than trying to figure that out.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
terrifying, I would think, for the majority of our listeners.
Yeah.
How do people, and myself now included, continue to step into that courage and allow rather than push?
Ooh, that was my word last year, was allow.
Yes, it was.
That's good.
Yeah.
If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, you've got to read it. Why? It is the common denominator of all successful people. 101. It's like, it's not an option.
Not an option.
Get it together and also read it at least 70 times.
Yeah.
It's a good audiobook.
You could read it once? Oh, good job.
No.
Well
Just
done.
like you're going to listen to this podcast 70 times.
If you're smart. Yeah.
You also should read that book.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And every single season, oh, this is a cool one we've been learning lately together, is every season, if you listen to the book again or the podcast or read something, because you're becoming a different person, you're going to be able to see new things. That's why it's not bad to go back to these things that are really enlightening to you. So anyway, in the book, he really talks about that. I'm going to talk about deep. You're going to be able to understand it just fine.
Mhm.
But my gosh, it's hard to read because every sentence is the most profound, like brain-breaking,
Yeah.
life-altering thing. And I read that book at 18. Come on.
Bring it.
Yeah, my brain was like, what?
Yeah.
But having new understanding, new friends, new permission, I've changed a lot more as I read it. But in the book, he says, I don't know what to name this freaking book. I don't know what to name this book. I worked for 20 years interviewing the most successful people in the whole world and finding those common denominators and creating a philosophy of understanding what it takes to really, I guess that's the original Broke to Woke.
Mhm.
Like, I never thought about that. It's called Think and Grow Rich. So it's all about shifting your mind
Yeah.
and you grow rich in all the areas of your life.
Yeah. Bingo. Whole life
Similar.
success.
I mean, this is, I guess, Think and Grow Rich too. So,
We're stealing from you, Napoleon.
so he could not come up with a name. And then he goes back. And so he says, all right, I surrender it. I surrender. Oh my gosh, this is my pro tip of a lifetime lately.
Hit me.
It's so freaking annoying. I'm just figuring this out. God.
Me too.
Anyway, so he surrenders it and he woke up in the middle of the night. The name Think and Grow Rich. It was the one. He calls the editor and they put it out there. And so, still blockbuster
Of course.
type book.
Yeah.
If a book can be a blockbuster. My new thing, just like we came up with what kind of problems do I want to have, is I push and 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 try to force, do everything humanly possible, which isn't bad.
Mhm.
Then I finally say, I surrender it. I really do. And now you have to mean it if you want a result. But every time I truly, for real, surrender it, then that means, okay, I'm willing to put in the work. I've done everything I know to do. But now, God, it's yours. And it's almost like magic. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like things just boom, boom.
Yeah.
Because I try to carry it. I try to use my humanness. And I'm not an easy quitter. Like I'm a forceful person. That's why the word allow was so hard for me. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, you're a baller.
People are like, the door closed. I'm like, kick the door open.
Uh-huh.
Okay, kick the freaking
Break
door.
it off the hinges.
Who cares if the door closed?
Get a crowbar.
Kick it open. And
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. I'm allowing this.
What it takes. But I'm allowing it. So yes, all of that. This whole surrender thing is when I finally got breakthroughs on things that I've asked for years, pushed for years, wanted for years, especially like in, I would say, relationships. It's like, okay, I have to just surrender that this person came into my life for a reason. If you want us to end up working together or doing that thing together or getting married or whatever the thing is that you're thinking about, make sure you take time to pray and surrender. And because you might see that person today as the most wonderful, loving guy you've ever dated in your life. He seems like Prince freaking charming, but you don't know if they're going to have something chemical shift in their brain 2 years later and they end up like a murderer. You don't know. So you really do have to just trust that what is for you is yours and nothing can truly be taken away from you. And with that, you're going to operate from a place of peace like you've never experienced before. What's your experience with that?
I'll let you know. This is new to me.
No way.
The surrendering, because I'll tell you the actual answer. I figured it out last night.
Tell me.
Was I didn't trust the person on the other side of that surrendering. Right? Yeah. So this is a lot of evolution. And that's why I'm telling everyone who's listening to this, please figure out a way to invest into yourself at a higher level than you normally do.
Do it.
But Jerremy, I have $100,000. If I spend $10,000, $20,000 of that, I now have less money. Yeah, you always have less money when you spend money. That's the way that works.
Please watch the YouTube and look at his face when he said that.
You have only time or money to spend.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ooh.
Right? So spend the worst of the one. Spend the money and get the time, get the understanding, get these downloads, get this knowledge. Because this is the one thing we're going to be able to look back on this episode, on this day, this time, the 20th of February, 2022, and we will both be able to go, this is when Jerremy and Britnie went next level. This is when we elevated. This is when we
transcended.
That is exactly right. This day, we will be able to know that. Because when I think of the book, Think and Grow Rich, I have meditated on just that title alone. Because number one, think. How many people spend time thinking? Almost never. Right? They medicate. They use substances to ensure that there is no silence in their body. Because when there is silence, that is when the foremost of your soul will speak to you. And if you do not want to hear those words, you will make sure that you do not hear them. And then
wait. Please tell me you heard that, guys. How many people are thinking like this? Realizing like this. That's why we're having a silent retreat, is for that
reason. That's it.
Hide
Please go to that. aerobvi.com. Click on Elevate
We're really
Summits.
not trying to sell you
I'm selling
on
it.
summits.
I'm
But we'll
selling
tell you
Summits.
they're here for a reason.
Please
we
go.
took the best of the best of the best of everything in our life
Yes.
and then created experiences out of it.
100%. Think and grow. Okay? So it's not think, become rich immediately. Think millionaire. Right? Think and grow. So that takes time. That denotes the passing of time. And then one of my favorite, most divisive words ever, rich. Retired in a Caribbean hotel, RICH. Ladies and gentlemen, spend that time, spend those moments in silence, listening, because in prayer you ask, and in meditation you receive. Make sure that you are able to both ask for, surrender, and in that surrendering, you will receive the messages that your heart has trying to been telling you for years.
And pro tip on prayer is get up as if your prayers were already answered. Ask as if it were already done. Thank as if you've received it already versus begging. Begging actually puts out there that it's possible it won't happen, which, if you have faith, then you are believing in what you can't currently see. That's what it means. Believing in what you can't currently see. Now, all of that in a state of surrender says, I believe this will happen even though I can't currently see it, and it will be better than I could have perfectly outlined exactly how it happens. Don't know how, but I know I will see it to fruition, and I will continue to act in faith, doing all the work I possibly can to make it reality.
I cannot quite figure out how these episodes get better every time. Because the last one was...
You're getting better.
Transcending.
You're getting better every time.
So are you.
You're fire.
And guess what? The next episode, we'll do just that.
We're going to talk about the formula for abundance. See you there.